Before I start this video, I'm just going to address the giant elephant in the room, and that is no, I have not read the Grunbeld novel. If you don't know what that is, in 2017, the writer and director of the Berserk 2016 anime, Makoto Fukami, he was given the permission to write the novel detailing the origins of one of the most powerful apostles in the Berserk series, in Grunbeld, the Flame Dragon Knight, thus resulting in the book called Grunbeld, the Flame Dragon Knight. Truth be told, I have zero interest in reading an entire book about a character that I'm not really that attached to and whom I find to be one of the least interesting members of the current Band of the Hawk. I would take a novel about Rakshas, Irvine, and of course the honorable motherfucking Zod way before I would want to read a novel about Grunbeld. And hey, seriously, if they just decided to put out a bunch of one-shot either books or manga about particular apostles' origins, I think that would be a fantastic way to continue Berserk in some capacity and expand on the lore. I'm totally on board with that idea. However, I don't have the time or the interest to read a Grunbeld novel, so this monster manual will only be talking about Grunbeld using context from the proper Berserk manga. Not to mention the fact that most people I know that have read the novel have stated their disappointment with it, and how it's nowhere near on par with Kentaro Miura's writing quality. I'd also like to plug the two-part video series on the novel created by Spired, where he gives a very in-depth and detailed look at the book, adding plenty of humor along the way, and explanations as to why the quality is not exactly the best. Excellent videos, I really enjoyed watching them myself. I'll have the link in the description below, so go give him some likes and a sub while you're at it. I've also heard that the novel spends some time really detailing the specifics about old Grunny's flame dragon cock.
It is a long, smooth shaft, complete with 2 balls!
What is that? That looks just like an enormous...
Wang, pay attention.
And hey, considering there's very little ginger representation in Berserk, we pretty much have Isidro or Grunbeld. And those are the only two redhead boys in the story, and if anyone is going to have a huge dragon dick, I'm happy that it's one of my own. I, however, am hung like Isidro. But it could certainly be true that if you are too, by subscribing to the Real Life Ryan channel, your own flame dragon will increase by several inches. So go ahead and hit that sub button to upgrade from Chode Isidro to Pimp Grunbeld. Grunbeld is first introduced in Chapter 184, War Cry of the Wind. This is during the scene in which Griffith has returned now to the physical world and begins his conquest to create his own kingdom, protecting Wyndham from the Kushan invasion and showcasing several powerful new allies who all come together and bow before him, declaring themselves his followers and establishing the new Band of the Hawk. Grunbeld had previously made a name for himself in his human days. Already an extremely large and powerful man, he is often referred to as a giant, even though he has only been an apostle and before that a human. Tall, strong, and the leader of 3,000 soldiers, he had a reputation of being able to defend his home country from shooter invaders. And due to his sheer size, power, and the red hair, it earned him the name of the Great Flame Dragon. Once becoming an apostle, Grunbeld took the Flame Dragon motif to its furthest extent in his appearance and abilities. In his human form, like I said, he is already gigantic. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but most sources say he's about 2.7 meters, which puts Grunbeld at about 8 feet and 10 inches, and that's just in his human form. I guess we understand now why he would need...
I dropped my monster condom that I used for my magnum dong.
His metal armor represents the scales of a dragon, and his helmet being shaped like the head of one, while Grunbeld's face peers through the mouth of the dragon helmet. If seeing this gigantic motherfucker with a huge dragon helmet wouldn't be intimidating enough, let's not leave out what Grunbeld carries with him. 1, a massive great hammer which he can use at immense speeds that can break a man's spine in half, skewer several men at once, burst through shields, and just cause a heavy amount of damage and destruction overall. The range on the Great Hammer, along with Grunbeld's size, allows for a lot wider of a reach than most regular swordsmen. And if that wasn't enough, he also carries a shield, again in the shape of a dragon's mouth, which holds within it the ability to fire off a cannon, not dissimilar to Guts' arm cannon, but with the shield it's able to hold a much more powerful blast, and with the explosion it simulates a dragon spewing out a blasting rage of fire. And just in case Grunbeld ever feels like switching from a blunt weapon to a blade, the shield can also hold 2 hidden swords in the back of it that he can whip out at any time that he's feeling frisky. So yeah, you're already dealing with a warrior who can absolutely dominate pretty much anybody physically and has multiple weapons that can tear you apart with ease. And this is only his human form. His apostle form is a whole other story. In Grunbeld's apostle form, his height increases several folds and he actually transforms into a giant 4-legged crystallized dragon, fully taking on his namesake. His entire outer body being covered with crystals that are harder than steel, making him virtually impenetrable. A thrust from Guts' Dragon Slayer while he was using the Berserker armor has been the only thing so far shown to put a crack in Grunbeld's crystallized dragon form, but even that crack was small in scale considering just how strong Guts would have been at that moment. And a headbutt back from Grunbeld broke several bones in Guts' body soon after. But anyways, besides the obvious strength and power boost, in his dragon form, he himself can fire a blast of flames from his mouth onto his opponents, incinerating them within a moment's notice. I would say for the most part that Grunbeld is a very intelligent fighter too. He's not just a pure meathead using brute force. However, he is extremely overconfident in himself and eager to go into battle. With that though, and similar to Zod in this regard, he retains a warrior's pride even now as an apostle. When he and the other apostles were sent to Flora's mansion to burn down her spirit tree, Grunbeld scoffed at this many men being sent to take down just one elderly woman. But when he saw Guts, he was ecstatic at the prospect of fighting the Black Swordsman who had killed so many apostles previously. But during this moment, Guts was already weak from previous fights and had no armor and thus was losing quite badly, being dominated under Grunbeld's pure physical strength. This making Grunbeld lose respect for Guts, and thus Grunbeld defaulted to insults and shit talk. So yes, he is honorable, but he also does not want his time wasted. He clearly values his opinions of himself to a very high regard and wants to go on missions and fight the battles that reflect that. He's a very monotone character and a no-nonsense kind of guy. Also remember, he hates jokes. So if you had to fight with Grunbeld as a normal human, yeah, well, if you take anything away from this video, you have to remember how huge his body is. So one hit from this guy and you already are most likely a dead man. He has range with the Great Hammer, and you'd have to be quick on your toes if you managed to fire off his shield cannon. Basically, you'd want to try to kill him before he transforms, so avoid the attacks, don't get hit, and go for the throat. Because honestly, if he does go full flame dragon mode on you, you're just fucking done. Your only hope would be having a weapon as strong as the Dragon Slayer that can harm him on a physical and astral level. Lifting the Dragon Slayer alone, though, means you would need to be pretty damn strong yourself, and like I said, Guts only managed to hit him with the thrust thanks to wearing the Berserker armor, and it still didn't work to finish the job. However, if you have a magic user on your team such as Flora, she was able to make a barrier that Grunbeld was unable to cross through. This barrier did no physical damage to him, but it did allow time for them to escape and run away, and if you were just a regular person fighting Grunbeld, you would have to do that too. Just run far, far away, because you can't beat Grunbeld. How about that? In universe, as I've stated before, I always thought it would have been better if Grunbeld died in that moment, because I think a big casualty on Griffith's side of things would have been helpful to see. It also would have worked to give that much more of an impact to the Berserker armor's introduction, or Flora could have taken him out in her final sacrifice. And how great would it be to see someone as physically strong and intimidating as Grunbeld is, ultimately killed off by an elderly woman. I would just love that idea. But that wasn't the case with Grunbeld, and he remains in the story despite having not done much since then. He fought in the battle against Ganishka and has been helping Griffith battle monsters like the Hydra since the creation of Falconia, but he's mostly been in the background of the story with little to no dialogue. So does Grunbeld have more to do in the story? Was Miura saving something for him special down the line? I mean, at this point, I guess we'll never know. But anyways, guys, what did you think about Grunbeld the Flame Dragon Knight? Is he one of your favorite or least favorite apostles in the new Band of the Hawk? How do you feel about his apostle form? And most importantly, who do you think would win in a fight? Grunbeld or Zod? Please leave your thoughts down below. Very curious to hear them. Comments and ideas, all that down in the comments below. Please like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe and check the links in the description for my Patreon, merch store, and various social media links. Thank you guys, as always, for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next time.